So looking at World War II, we've had a modern day film with Pearl Harbor that came out in 2001, directed by Michael Bay, but not with Midway. I mean, the first one came out in 1976, but now we have an updated version. How did it turn out? Let's see. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to my opinion/review for Midway. I really do appreciate it. And if this is your first time finding me and you want more movie reviews, trailer reactions, me responding to entertainment news, TV recaps, or anything I think is cool, please right now click on that subscribe button and also the bell so you can be notified when I make uploads and you will be on your way. Midway is a film that I cannot necessarily say I was just super duper excited about it. However, I was looking forward to it somewhat. I love a war action adventure film, and when I saw the trailers for this, I was like, okay, you know, this is quite up my alley, especially when you have Mr. Roland Emmerich attached as the director. And when you look at his filmography, it's pretty outstanding, except for the Godzilla film that he directed in 1998. At the time when I did see that film, I thought it was great, but as I got older and time progressed, I went back and looked at it and I was like, wow, this film is kind of a mess. But he did do Independence Day. That's a great film. Everybody loves Independence Day. I watch that film every year around the 4th of July. Will Smith is great. You know, that's pretty obvious across the board. But he also did 2012. I love that film. The Day After Tomorrow, I love that even more. And also The Patriot, which came out in year 2000 with Mel Gibson. Universal Soldier, White House Down, and you know, so that's his filmography right there. You know, he's pretty much knocked everything out of the park. Now, the budget for this film is $75 million. And to be honest with you, given the material of this film and, you know, having action and all that good stuff, gun battles, you know, that seems kind of low. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But let's just go ahead and see what this film is about exactly. Midway centers on the Battle of Midway, a clash between the American fleet and the Imperial Japanese Navy, which marked a pivotal turning point in the Pacific Theater during World War II. The film, based on the real events of the heroic feat, tells the story of the leaders and soldiers who used their instincts, fortitude, and bravery to overcome the odds. Go ahead and say that's a pretty fair assessment if you ask me. So, of course, this film took place in World War II. It started somewhat parallel to the attack on Pearl Harbor, which took place December the 7th of 1941. Took place right as that was going on, and then the 6 months leading up to after that. Now, the exact date for the attack on Midway was June the 4th through the 7th in 1942. And basically, this is just a giant Navy battle between America and Japan, you know, fighting over the Pacific. Japan is also, you know, fighting over resources, especially oil, which they did point out early on in the film. And one of the things that I really do love about the film is the balance on both sides. You know, it didn't cater to one side or the other. It's very, you know, not politically correct just to say that Japan is evil. You know, no one says that today, even though we had a large disagreement decades and decades ago and many, many lives are lost. And they try to make that point very, very early on in the film with it taking place. I believe the year was 1939, and then it jumps over about 4 years into the future. And that's when the battle starts to commence. But as far as dividing the line between the two parties, between the two factions, you know, it's about 55-45. 55% of the film covers America and the other 45 does cover Japan. You know, they do speak Japanese language as subtitles, and that's just kind of something that I appreciate, that makes the film and the source material that much more significant, and just shows a little bit of culture, something that we over here in the West are not that accustomed to. Now, besides the film just kind of paying respect to both sides, showing the heroes on both sides, I really do love the instincts and the strategies that these two parties had to deal with, trying to predict when the next battle would be, you know, how they're going to set the next trap, you know, how are they going to get on top of things and foil the other. And with the film showing the instincts and the strategy of both sides trying to come out on top of the war. I thought that was very, very fascinating how the film bounced back and forth, from each side. I did not know what was going to happen. It was very, very hard to predict just kind of how the story was going to be told. I really did appreciate it. Over here in the West, when we look at films, we have a 3-act structure. And while I do see a lot of movies, I'm able to predict a lot of the times just the whole makeup of the film and how things are going to turn out. But I had no idea with this film right here, what they was going to showcase for you as far as me being an audience member. And something like that can only work when I do care about the characters and you do have good performances. And I thought that the performances across the board on both the American and Japanese side was phenomenal. I mean, we have Ed Skrein. He was the villain in the Deadpool first film. Patrick Wilson, Luke Evans, Woody Harrelson, Mandy Moore, Dennis Quaid, Aaron Eckhart, Nick Jonas, and the list goes on, and everybody did a great job. Now, one thing I will take away is early on in the film, the battle just started out of nowhere. And that can be effective because especially with Pearl Harbor, I mean, they was just attacked out of the blue. They didn't know. And so, I do like the element of surprise. But at the same time, when early on, when I did not know any of the characters at all and just kind of what motivated them, it was just kind of hard for me to root for them and just kind of see the significance of everything. But a great thing about the film is as it progressed on and you're going scene to scene, I cared about everyone. And it wasn't just a big action adventure either. I mean, this film does have a lot of action and Roland Emmerich is known for that, but it also did focus on the drama and everything that was happening behind the scenes as well. I mean, sometimes we would see a nice, lengthy, vivid battle, but at the same time, we would just get snippets of one and see the aftermath of it and the drama and how everyone responded. Or if someone died, we would not show the funeral per se, but we would show the aftermath of the funeral and how everybody responded to it and reacted to it. And that's just something different for me that I haven't really experienced before. And another thing that I really did appreciate in this film. Now, one of my favorite characters out of the whole film, and it's kind of hard to divide it amongst everybody else that came in second place. But as far as fourth place, I love the portrayal that Mr. Ed Skrein gave us. He was living the life of the real Mr. Lieutenant Richard Dick Best. And I just thought his performance was great. It was just outstanding. I mean, I really do have a respect for his character and feel like I learned something about this true American hero and the bravery that he displayed in all of these Navy battles that took place in the Pacific. Something else that I like about this film is just the mechanics of plane flying and how they explain how submarines work and cruisers and things like that. I mean, you pretty much know that already if you've seen any other war film or paid attention in some history class coming up. But seeing all this kind of just tied together, seeing it in the flesh, in the action, of where to go for, where to pull back as far as strategy in the war and just using all those weapons and things like that. It was nice. And there was a number of times where I was at the edge of my seat in this film. And I know that may sound cliche, but I mean, it's just the honest God truth. And not only was I, but a number of other people, in this film. I promise you, it was one point in the film, I think my whole row leaned forward like this when I got to a certain point of action all at the same time. And you didn't even have to look left or right. You can just kind of feel that throughout your peripherals. And for a film to do something like that, I mean, that's just a testament of how great it is. Now, I'm not going to say this film is perfect either because it's not. Earlier, I said that the budget was $75 million, and it did show. I mean, that's just kind of shocking with, Roland Emmerich. He usually gets a large budget, but, with this cut budget right here, there was a lot of green screen, and a lot of it did look fake and did kind of clock me out of the movie, especially in the beginning. I mean, it was kind of hard to get into. I was like, okay, this is just not real. This is just blatant CGI everywhere. And, we know that in today's time, CGI is everywhere. I mean, that's just apparent, but I just don't want it to be just so glaring in my face and so obvious. I think that, they should, tidy that up just a little bit. And so that's just one of the things that I did not like about this film. Another thing, and this just may be a nitpick, I mean, this is a war. People die. And there was one scene where they were in a recovery hospital, just showing all types of bloody, dismembered bodies laid across the floor of the deceased. And I just used the word bloody, but there was just no blood on these white sheets. I mean, it was like hundreds of bodies. dead, burnt to a crisp and all that, but all the sheets were just ice white, like they just came out of, the laundry. And that just really doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that. I don't know if they were just trying to hide the brutality of the war, but with this film being rated PG-13, I'm not saying that you had to have blood and guts everywhere, but you could have had some dirty towels just to make it seem that much real. And so that's just another takeaway that I have to have for the film. But guys, the action was great in all the battle scenes. I mean, real talk. And they had a nice score and soundtrack to help enhance that and just make it that much better, to give it that much more of an impact. I did really enjoy this film. I learned a lot. Like I said, all of these aerial battles and guns blazing in the air and just seeing all these fighter planes flying around trying to destroy all these carriers. I mean, I don't know. It was really, really entertaining just to see these airmen dive bombing, with this score, dodging bullets, weaving in and out the air with all these dogfights. I mean, I really did enjoy it. It was pretty intense. There was a lot of bravery. A lot of people died, but a lot of people saved the day. To where I will recommend this film. If I had to give Midway a rating out of a 1 out of 10, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Yes, a 7.5 out of 10. I would have gave it an 8.5 out of 10, but that green screen kind of just really lowered the grade for me. But guys, that is just my opinion. Thank you so much for tuning in. What is your favorite war movie, your favorite war biopic? Please let me know down in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation going and keep it flowing. If you like this video, please go ahead and give me the thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Please, guys, help me reach 15,000 subscribers and then we can move on to 20. And also look me up on social media. It's in the description box. It's in the pinned comments, and you got it right there on the screen. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. You want to. You want more confidence from this guy right here. But no, guys, seriously, I want to just thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.